Like many of you, I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, heavily inspired by Goku. His training, his physique really inspired me to start working out. I can remember trying to do 100 push-ups as a kid and just trying to be like my idol, trying to do those handstand push-ups and everything. And I have to say, anime in general was a big inspiration for me to start working out. I started hitting the gym when I was 16 years old, about 15 years ago, and I've been pretty consistent ever since. And at the time, for a long time, my goal was purely to put on size, try to get as big as possible, try to get like my idols. I did it completely natural. I've been a lifetime natural and still am. And I just thought I had to just eat as much food as possible, work out, lift weights 5, 6 days a week, try to sleep as much to recover and get stronger and build as much muscle, kind of like a bodybuilder. I pretty much neglected cardio, wasn't doing any mobility work whatsoever. And outside of some sports and some biking that was done recreationally, I was pretty out of shape, I have to say. My goal was purely to just look as freakishly big as possible while staying natural. So up until only a few years ago, that was my entire objective, my approach, my routine. It was just eating as much as I can, lifting as much weight as possible. And I thought it was looking pretty good. But a couple of years ago, I realized that my energy levels weren't quite where they should be. A lot of people thought, man, this guy's big, so he must be in great shape. But then they'd be surprised that I would kind of get winded easier than they'd think, or that I wasn't as mobile or able to necessarily do physical labor to the degree that someone of my size should be able to. And to be completely honest with you, it was a little bit embarrassing. Even the way I looked, I loved the idea of being, massive, having my sleeves tight around my arms. And even though I had abs at that higher body fat percentage and that heavier weight, at my peak, I was just over 200 pounds. I never felt like I was really that attractive, and I didn't have the physique I really wanted. I didn't have the leanness or the striations, and I thought I just have to put on more muscle mass in order to get that look, right? And maybe go on a mini cut to just peel the fat and just show the definition. It wasn't until a few years ago that I really started taking my training more so for like a athletic approach. I thought I'm going to start doing more cardio. I'm going to start doing mobility routines. I'm going to try to lose a little bit of weight, cut some of my calories. And what ended up happening was I lost a lot of weight, lost a lot of fat, a lot of water weight. My face looked so much better in two ways. One was the fat and the water retention that was covering up a lot of my jawline, a lot of my facial definition went away, and I looked much better facially. My skin quality improved. I wasn't getting as much acne, and I just looked sharper and a lot better in the facial aesthetics. And as well as in my physique, I found the first thing I noticed is that clothing looked way better on me. I had a hard time with like finding outfits like suits and stuff that looked good. Now with a t-shirt I looked fine, but I didn't look really well put together. I find now that I've slimmed down a bit, rocking a suit is so much easier, and it looks so much more fashionable than having like this big chest and the small waist. It just doesn't look as good as you would think unless you get it tailored, which is an extra expense. And that's another benefit of slimming down that I noticed is the cost of food. That's something that not a lot of people talk about, but when you're trying to bulk up or even maintain those like really high levels of muscle mass, you need to be spending quite a bit, and protein isn't cheap, right? So it was saving me money. It was making me look better. It was making me feel better, have more energy. Definitely feel way more athletic now. I feel lighter when I walk. I don't get winded as easily going up the stairs. I just feel like less sluggish, if that makes sense. And it makes sense because you're carrying less weight, literally, for every step that you take. So I cannot recommend enough trying to just slim down. Like, I know everyone wants to be as big as possible, you know, be like a mass monster, try to be freakish. But a lot of guys get into lifting and working out, if we're being honest, for, you know, attractiveness, or trying to look appealing to girls. I know that was part of the reason why I started as well. And it's so often along the way we end up kind of losing sight of that, and we end up just focusing on the numbers and getting as big and strong as possible. And as they say, the female gaze starts turning towards more the male gaze. And it's so true, those memes of where when you start working out, your expectations are that you're going to be surrounded by girls, and that they're going to be asking you, oh, how did you build that physique? And wow, what an impressive physique. But the truth is, once you start going past a certain extreme, it really ends up being guys that are impressed, and they're the ones who are always asking about your workout routine and how did you get that big. And you notice that a lot of women, they actually don't even really find that big, bulky look attractive. Very often you'll see guys like Jacob Elordi, Timothy Chalamet, maybe he's a little bit too thin, but these guys who have decent physiques, Tom Holland, they're athletic, they're not that big, they're usually pretty cut, well defined, but they're nowhere near crazy amounts of muscle mass. They probably have like a BMI of like 23 to max 25. So that's what I noticed, that doing these things and trying to have a leaner, lighter physique has actually improved my quality of life in all those domains that I mentioned. So I'd recommend that if you guys have been bulking for a long time, maybe just take a look back, take a look at some of your pictures, take a look in the mirror and question, are you doing this, you know, are you still on the same path that you started out as? And maybe you just really love the game of being as big and strong as possible, and you just want to go full on ogre mode, and more power to you. But if you're really trying to maximize your health, aesthetics, attractiveness, fashion, whatever you want to say, however you want to put it, it's something I really recommend trying out. You know, start lowering the calories a bit, start doing more cardio, more mobility work, stop training like a bodybuilder, and, you know, have some of those bodybuilder style workouts, you know, 3-4 days a week, but incorporate more of like a hybrid athletic approach, and you might see some big improvements in your life. So that's just something I wanted to share with you guys. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment down below, let me know if it's something you're going to try doing, and share the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.